If you've ever looked at your to-do list and thought, why can't I just get on with this? If you've ever told yourself, I'm just being lazy or I need more discipline, I want to start by saying something very clearly. You're not lazy, you're overwhelmed. And those two things, they are very different. Most people who struggle with procrastination aren't lacking motivation. They're not avoiding work because they don't care. They're avoiding work because their brain feels overloaded, pressured, or unsafe. And when that happens, your nervous system does exactly what it's designed to do. It shuts things down. Here's the giveaway. If laziness were the real problem, rest would fix it. A day off would solve it. A holiday would solve it. A good night's sleep would solve it. But it doesn't. You come back rested and the resistance is still there. That's because the issue was never energy. It was overwhelm. Overwhelm isn't about having too much to do. It's about carrying too much unresolved thinking. Unclear tasks, open decisions, emotional weight, pressure to get it right, the fear of doing the wrong thing. All of that lives in your head, even when you're not consciously thinking about it. And your brain treats that as a threat. When the brain detects threat, it doesn't optimize for productivity. It optimizes for safety, which means avoidance, distraction, freezing. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is trying to protect you. This is something I learned the hard way. Early on, when I was building my first business, I looked productive from the outside. I was busy all the time, always working on something. I spent weeks building a website. I talk about this website all the time. I tweaked the colours, I perfected the layouts, I rewrote the copy. It looked impressive, but I was avoiding the things that actually mattered. Selling, launching, putting myself out there. And I told myself a story. I'm being strategic. I'm just not ready yet. In reality, I was overwhelmed. Everything felt heavy. Every task felt loaded with consequence, and my brain was doing what it always does under pressure. It stalled. That was the moment I realised something important. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't incapable. I was overloaded. And once I saw that, I stopped asking, how do I push harder? And started asking, what does my brain need in order to move? That question changed everything. Here's what the research backs up. When cognitive load is high, when you're holding too many unresolved tasks and decisions, your brain loses access to executive function. That's planning, decision making, follow through. So when you say, I know what I should be doing, I just can't make myself do it, that's not laziness. That is overload. This is why discipline-based advice often fails. It tells you to force action in a system that's already overloaded. That's like asking a computer to run faster when all the memory is full. What you need isn't more pressure. You need less load. This is the core idea behind the momentum reset method. It doesn't try to fix you. It fixes the conditions that make action feel hard. Overwhelm is the root problem. Momentum is the result. One of the biggest shifts is learning how to reduce mental load before you try to be productive. That's where tools like the overwhelm audit come in, getting unresolved tasks out of your head and into something concrete. Another is using micro missions, breaking work down so your brain can see a clear, safe starting point. And when stress spikes, you don't push through it, you regulate it. That's why simple tools like the 5-5-5 reset breath matter. These aren't hacks, they're ways of working with your nervous system instead of fighting it. Here's the shift that changes everything. Productive people aren't more disciplined than you. They're operating with clearer next steps, lower emotional load, and fewer unresolved decisions. Once overwhelm drops, starting feels easier, focus returns, confidence rebuilds, not because you fixed yourself, but because the friction is gone. If you want to try something simple today, do this. Think of one task you've been calling yourself lazy about. Just one. Now ask, is it unclear? Does it carry emotional weight? Are there too many decisions packed into it? Then shrink it. Define the next step. Something that could be done in 15 minutes. You don't have to do it yet. Just define it. that alone reduces mental load more than most people realise. If this way of thinking resonates and you want a structured framework to apply it consistently, I've put everything into the Momentum Reset method. The link's in the description, but whether you explore that or not, remember this: you're not lazy, you are overwhelmed, and overwhelm isn't a personal flaw, it's a solvable condition. If this helped, I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel, and I'd love to know what's the one thing you've been calling yourself lazy about lately.